Hi, I'm John Hart and welcome back to Mr. America Hart. All right, today I've been asked how much money have I made in natural bodybuilding and how much do natural bodybuilders make in general? It's a great question and it had me thinking, the last few days, and I really wanted to share with y'all because I'm not sure a lot of you realize that, in the enhanced version of bodybuilding, that would be the untested realm of bodybuilding, potentially the top 5 or 10 bodybuilders in the world, they make quite a bit of money. They do okay. Anything from, let's just say $100,000 a year up to Mr. Olympia, I've been told at least, Mr. Olympia, from endorsements as well as prize money and touring around the world, is looking at about a $3 or $4 million a year. So that sounds like a very good proposition. I don't know the balance between the health issues that they face versus, and the chances they're taking versus, risk reward. I don't know. But that's what they choose to do. And then it scales down from that amount. So in 2024, if we were to take that statistic, around $3 million for the #1 guy in the world. Notice I'm saying guy because it is about men's bodybuilding at that point. And we're not talking about including social media presence. We're not talking about including anything that they personally sell, training-wise, or programs, or courses, or books, or any of that, merchandise. Just the contest and seminars and endorsements from companies that want them to represent their product. So about $3 million a year. Everything goes down from that point. Now, jumping over to natural bodybuilding, the #1 natural bodybuilder in the world, and again, I'm talking about prize money from the contest, I'm talking about endorsements, sponsorships, and then lastly, any touring around the world, seminars and the like, okay? Right now, somebody like WNBF World Champion Brian Decosta, great physique. I've done a video on him. I'll put the link down below. You can see that video. It's awesome. And he's an awesome bodybuilder with an amazing physique, but the #1 natural in the world. And prize money-wise at the WNBF, prize money stands at $2,500 for winning the heavyweight class of the World Championships, which he did. And then you can throw in an additional $4,000 for the overall win in the WNBF World Championships. So $6,500 is the prize money. $6,500 at the #1 natural bodybuilding contest in the world. In the Mr. Olympia, now check this out, in the last few years, it's varied from $300,000 to $500,000, but I'll put the right number up on the screen for you. So it's a vast difference. You could live on this money over here in the enhanced version of the sport, but in natural bodybuilding, $6,500 is sort of like bonus money when you already have your job, whatever your job is. So that's just prize money, okay? Endorsements and sponsorships, depending on who you're with. Somebody like Brian Decosta, he's sponsored by Core Nutritionals right now, a great company, and they've been around for a while and they do very well. If you have, I don't know how much he's making off of his contract with Core, but I do know in the past that the top guys were making we're talking about several $100s a month plus free supplements. So if you want to upscale, let's go with a high number and call it $1,000 a month. $12,000 a year. So far, if you add up our #1 natural guy, we're talking about $6,500 plus $12,000 in the course of a year. It's about $18,500. Throw in the free supplements over the course of the year, 12 months worth. I'd call that $1,200. Let's round it up to about $20,000 between sponsorships, prize money, and supplements. So he doesn't have to spend money on supplements. That's the #1 bodybuilder in the world. Now, Seminars and tours or anything like that around the world, they're few and far between. Somebody like Brian is a good-looking man, well-spoken, and a great representative of whatever company or whatever product he's representing. I would imagine that he is the most likely, in most recent years actually, to get potential, not just sponsors, but seminars, let's say, seminars. And again, I'm shrugging my shoulders here because I look at his social media. I've seen Brian's social media. I have not seen one seminar in the course of this last year since the WNBF World Championships in November of 23. We're now midsummer of 24. So 8 months, 7-8 months later, this video will air and be published. Yeah, I have not seen anything. And he is the social media guy. He would put it up there, I'm sure. I have seen him on various channels as far as doing, some cross collaboration with some top YouTubers. That's really now where we get into the money factor, okay? In 2024, social media presence is everything. 2024, Brian is making money off of YouTube, Instagram, both with paid subscriptions. People who sign up as a subscriber do not have to pay for it, but he may have a paid for section as well. But YouTube itself, Instagram itself will pay him for certain videos that they do. So there's a source of income. And if you have a healthy following, a few 100,000, then you're looking at, let's just say on YouTube, for example, a few 100,000 followers, average videos will go for about 40,000 views on a regular basis. You're talking about, these are real subscribers now, you're talking about in the course of each month seeing a check for about $3,500. Now that's so far, take all your social media, combine it, let's just round it down to 3,000, just be really conservative. $3,000 a month. It's $36,000 a year. Let's add that to our 20,000 number that I mentioned before as being the #1 natural in the world. So far, we're looking at about $50,000 on the year. Can you live on that? Yes. People have lived on $50,000 a year, especially if you're, married or living with someone else, dual income household. But by no means are you living in a prosperous way at $50,000 a year. If anything, I think in the United States that may be actually considered to be poverty, depending on what state you're living in. If you're living in California, New York, those states, Chicago, very, very expensive to live. 50,000 is not getting you even in the suburbs. It's not getting you much. So that's it for the #1 bodybuilder in the world. Now, I'm just saying that guy can make that much money, and he can do so competing in just one contest, being the #1 guy in the entire world. But if you were to compete in 2 or 3 other contests, in past years we've seen some champions like Siobhan Cunningham in the WNBF. We've seen Cleveland Thomas, competing in other shows, and they win those shows. And each one of those, they might have a grand total after winning your class and winning the overall. So you have to win the class and the overall. Those shows, smaller shows, they're walking away with about $3,500 in the end. If they did 2 or 3 of those a year, let's call it another $10,000. You just bumped up from $50,000 to $60,000 on the year. Man, $60,000. Now, I'll tell you, since the question originally was how much did I make, have I made in natural bodybuilding, I've kind of parlayed it into a social media presence. It's very good. While at this one point at the publishing of this video, I'm just under 50,000 subscribers, so it's going pretty well so far. And on YouTube, contest money, competing in the pro circuit, we're talking about over the course of 4 years as a pro, I made a few $1,000s in the end. That's it. Just a few $1,000s. I had not won a pro show. I went as high as second place in pro shows. So a few $1,000s. I made more money from my sponsors. Okay, they actually paid for things like my airfare, my entry fees. Oh, by the way, that does add up as well. So let's round up the number one natural in the world to $70,000 at most, about 70. Okay, livable wage. There you go. But you do have things like expenses in natural bodybuilding. You fly yourself to a contest. You pay for your own hotel. You pay your own entry fees. All of those things. All of them add up. So having a company that's going to pay those for you and represent them, so you're wearing their sweatsuit, their merchandise at the contest, so people know you're sponsored, who your sponsor is, your main sponsor. All those expenses are covered, but still you have to pay for your own food, your own training, gym membership, wherever you're at in the course of that year. Traveling around. So I was pretty much a net zero in the end. Natural bodybuilding didn't cost me any money, but it did not make me any money either, directly from the sport. That's prize money, that's sponsorships. In the end, mine was a break even. And so over the course of a natural pro career from 2013 to about 2017, 2018, in that zone, I broke even. That was it. There's your answer. I didn't make anything in natural bodybuilding from the sport directly. Now, having the titles, Mr. America, Natural Mr. Universe, and promoting myself, through social media, pushing the brand, writing books. I've made more money from my books in the course of the last 10 years. I wrote them. I started back in 2010, so it's been about 14 years. And from that time until now, I have 3 books that I've written. Mr. America Shape Up Series, Physique 101, and Year 1 in the Beginning. Year 1 in the Beginning is for beginners, obviously. And those 3 books, over the course of the last 14 years, they still sell to this day. And even when I mention them right here in this video, there'll be some of you all who may be interested in it. You can get it in both paperback, hard copy off of Amazon, or you can get the digital download. I'll put a link down below, and you can download it right now if you want. It's much more inexpensive to download it to your device. So those books have made me quite a bit.